Salut, mine comrades. Welcome back to Let's Play Banished. I noticed in the last episode with the rain and the wind and the snow and trees falling down that I sounded a little bit too quiet in comparison to the game, so I've turned the volume down a bit more. I just wanted to make that note before hopping back in, so I'll be back when something interesting happens. Another thing, I've noticed that I Achaidh like 2 gatherers, but we don't actually have a gatherer's hut. So you are going to be a fisherman, my friend. There are a couple, like the herbalist. I don't have a herbalist hut, and I don't have a gatherer's hut, but I want to keep one in each. Just have them work as laborers. And that way our laborers can immediately go to doing other stuff. Anyone with a question mark like this will act as a laborer when they don't have a job to do. I believe that's how it works. Let's watch this person. Yeah, picking up stones. Okay, so a quick little update here. We've had some more birds, some more people grow up. We just finished the house on top of our woodcutter, which I still think looks lovely and nice. The way it pokes through and everything, the way it integrates, the way it covers up this. It's like this house was designed to be built on top of the woodcutter. Anyhow, so in lieu of the fact that our builders now have nothing to work on, I've told them to get started on the herbalist, so that'll be the next building we'll be crunching through. And then we're going to work on the root cellar. And the gatherer's hut after that. Actually, scratch that, I want to work on the gatherer's hut first, because the herbalist is pretty much a witch doctor. It'll gather plants and such from the surrounding area, and it'll use it for healing your people. It's like a doctor, and that'll increase the health. And health is starting to go down, as it will the longer you go without a dedicated herbalist, but right now it's not our primary concern. Our primary concern continues to be food, and that's what the gatherer's hut is for. They will also gather herbs, but they'll also gather roots and plants and such, all of which are meant to be consumed and eaten as like a diet, as opposed to medicine. So that's what we're working on now, and I'll get you in a few more. This is problematic. One of our houses is hungry. They don't have enough food for themselves. We have some fish over here, and it's just a matter of them bringing it over to this place. But yeah, food's gonna become a problem soon. Hopefully the herbalist will fix that. Okay, another little game mechanic here. I talked about the fuel limit earlier, but what does that actually mean? Well, it means how much firewood the person is going to make. They'll only make so much firewood, and that is this number here. So we've made it to 300 firewood, and now we have this symbol, which means you've reached the maximum production. And it's sort of just to tell you that you've built up enough storage of the item that you no longer need it. And if, like, you see that and you know for a fact that you could still use some more firewood, then you bump it up. But right now we're okay, so this woodcutter is now going to default to being a laborer in order to occupy his time and make himself useful to the community, in light of the fact that we now no longer have need for his services. So as I pointed out earlier, this house was completed, and it too has been occupied by some fishermen. The fishermen are the only people with houses. I actually think that they might be moving about, because there's only 4 fishermen in the village. We know 2 are over there, 2 were over here, and 1 was up here. Oh, that's lovely. So Arvel, our fisherman friend from earlier, has either decided to become a builder, or has moved out and another Arvel has taken his place. I think he's just become a builder, and he's married to Clementina. and they've already had a son, Ellington. When was Ellington born? Late spring. It's now autumn. So, the people are procreating, they're happy, they're getting married. He now has some wild sheep meat as opposed to the potatoes, and Ellington's birthday just passed by. How nice. So who are the people living here now? The two fishermen are still there with their two children. They've aged a bit, 26 and 20. Remember, they were like 16 the last time I looked at them. Yeah, that would be right on the one, because Arville was only 11. We were shocked. So our people are doing alright. And we have the two fishermen here, the two other fishermen here, and Clementine is a hunter. And so yeah. Is she the only hunter? No, we've had more people searching for deer. And you're everybody else, aren't you? That food is so concerning me. The way they can't keep their inventory filled. What are our builders up to now? Our builders are actually not up to anything. Let me pause it real quick and uncheck the root cellar just to give them something to do. And I'm actually gonna... No, I'll leave them be for now. So that means we have a gatherer working. And the gatherer produces food in the range of nuts and crap, and roots, plants, that they just pick up off the forest for. It's a forager. So hopefully that problem will sort itself out in good time. We have one question mark left, and that is our herbalist. But as I said, the herbalist isn't my concern. I'm really not that concerned about storage either. And given that there are only 10% on the storage barn, it might actually be a smarter idea to queue up the herbalist first, since health will be the more immediate problem than storage. So I'm gonna do that. I think they've started planting, and we have here, these are just dead trees, but little sproutlings all about. This might actually be a bush, but eventually this tree will become tall, and eventually this whole area will become forests, which is what we're want to see. And it's very nice to see just a ring of trees with a couple smokestacks sticking out of it. So I noticed someone else has become an adult, who's now working as a laborer. What do we want you to do? We have all the fishermen we need. Start hunting. Start shooting animals. We need food. We need food badly. And our gatherers are already at work. Herbs and berries. What have you got to eat? You don't have anything to eat. I don't understand what's with these people. The fishermen, for goodness sake, just set some fish aside for yourself. Oh, look! They had a little child, a little boy. His name is MacLeod, I think. And he did them a favor and went and picked up some firewood. I think that's what he did. These little houses are weird in the way they operate. Because the game's obviously not designed to have people walking up and down stairs, so there's like 2 spaces, and they'll hop, as I've noticed, instead of properly walking up the stairs, and they'll phase through it and everything, so I'm not sure where they drop their goods and where their goods, because they'll actually carry resources about. This is really bad. Now we have 2 people complaining of food. I did not have this problem earlier. We're consuming food as fast as we're producing it, so definitely want to get some more people. I think I made a mistake in starting with the hunters. I think you actually want to start with your gatherers, because, as I've heard, your gatherers are mad at producing food. So, in lieu of the fact that we're just barely staving off starvation, we're down to 1 builder, and everyone else is dedicated to the collection and production of food, except the woodcutters and the like. We're still needed to make sure our firewood industry doesn't crash at the same time, So these people have fish now, but those fish will be gone very soon. So I wouldn't call this starvation, but definitely hunger. People are wanting, more wanting than they should be. So in light of that fact, I think I'm going to queue up another fishery, just north of this one. We don't currently have the population and the population growth to support agrarian economy based primarily off of farming and the like, so another 4 people for another fishing dock. Hold on, I need to pin this. You can pin these, and they'll stay there even when you exit out of the menu, and then the rings will stay there. And you'll be able to compare where you want. So I'm gonna go for as little overlap as I possibly can, which, because of the way this coast is jagged here, is gonna be difficult. It also helps to not be trying to place the damn thing backwards like a moron. Yeah, a little bit of overlap, but I think that's okay. In fact, we'll go half and half. I don't want to waste that triangle that's directly south, but I also don't want to waste the little overlap. So, break even. And that herbalist is never going to get built, because we're turning it off again. Maybe not, it's 85% complete. Our one builder will finish that up, and then we'll start working on the fishery. And by the time the fishery is done, hopefully we'll have a few more adults, and we'll be producing more food. So, I want to take a moment to start thinking about the future of our village. So let me move it down to speed 5. And there are 2 things that are on my mind immediately. And that's the market, the distribution of the food, and the resources. And another building we'll get to when I'm done talking about that. So where can a market fit? Won't fit there, so that's not going to be our city center. I've settled on this one being the T-junction, so the market will be placed here, and it has a wide radius, and the market's job is to distribute food amongst the population, make sure that the population can get food, even if they live far away from a storage shed or a place where food is made. But we're not going to build that now, because it requires, like, vendors and stuff, and we don't really need it. Our village is still small. So, the second building we're going to think about is not the trade post, as you might have thought, but the town hall. Right now, aside from food, our primary concern is population. And in order to boost your population real fast, you can take in immigrants and nomads, as I said earlier. So we're also going to queue that up right next to the storage barn at the center of town. So someone did starve to death. A child, Lorena. Who was she? Her name sounds familiar. I hope it wasn't like a 1-year-old or something. No, their children are okay. They actually had a second child, Henda. So Arvel's doing good for himself. And it looks like these people lost someone. Either that or he grew up. I think it was the fisherman's daughter that died. So, we have our first casualty. What got me thinking about the building and the planning of our future city is that we want to think about a graveyard if people are going to start dying. So, let me see. Another thing that I'm going to set up and then immediately pause because we want to work on the fishery and the other places first. You can only have one town hall. So, here's the cemetery, and let's see. Can that road go? Okay, it can go like that, and then it would go like that. So, within those constraints, we'll build our cemetery. And on that note, that's too small. Let me figure out exactly where the edge of this cliff is. So it goes like that. Irritating. I think it'll be okay. Just make a perfectly square cemetery. Not a perfectly square cemetery? There we go, 10 by 10. So yeah, that'll look nice. But again, we don't want to occupy the labor to that. Did I pause the game? I didn't need to pause the game. I was concerned about food and such. Which, again, is our primary concern right now. We won't be worrying about the cemetery. We won't even be worrying about much of these roads that I just set down. We'll fill this area with a park or a statue or something. So, I think that'll do it for now. We're getting up on that timestamp. We finished our herbalist, so I think I'll call that a vid. So, once again, thank you all for joining me. Sayonara.